is for faggots.
Boop, 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 boop. Hey everybody, welcome to a brand new episode of On the Line. It's your boy Kris Avalon here, coming at you loud, live, and in color. And in this, in case you didn't know, Smith's Grove Sanitarium, that should give you a clue we're about to talk about. Halloween Kills. It's finally out. I want to do my spoiler review. So if you are a fan of the Halloween film and you've seen it, stick around and watch this video, or you could just wait until you've seen the film and then come in and give your opinion, click like, subscribe, all that good stuff. At the bottom, I'm sure you'll see the scroll up any second where you can pretty much click like, subscribe, share, leave your comments, do all that good stuff. And for all of you who are watching, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate every subscription, every click, every like, every comment, positive, negative, but just be respectful on your opinions on this channel. So yeah, I want to basically dive in and give my opinions on this movie. Finally got to see it. Been wanting to see this for a long time. You know, we had to wait a year. It was filmed last year. Then COVID happened, so we had to wait. I'm glad we did. And I actually did not mind the fact that they released this film simultaneously, not only in theaters, but also what you could watch in the confines of your own home via Peacock, which is how I watched it. On a 4K TV, so all the details, surround sound, all that good stuff, I had that. I got to sit on the couch. Look, I went to see the latest James Bond movie. I saw Shang-Chi. I saw that in a theater. Those seats are not comfortable. They're in my knees. Sitting there for 2 some odd hours, dealing with people, noise, kicking your chair, babies coming up in there when they shouldn't be in there, making all that. I ain't got time for that. So getting to see this movie where I got to hang out with my friends, and then the next day, which was today, I got to watch it by myself and take it all in and get, so that way I can have a full opinion. But my first initial reaction when I saw this movie, there were some issues that I had with the film. And then when I watched it a second time, some of the issues I've kind of relaxed on, but there's still some clunky mishaps in the film that irked me. But I just want to give like a breakdown of what I liked and what I didn't like and all those other things. And it'll probably come out as I talk about it with this whole thing. So it opens the film, you know, they always say the synopsis is, but the film opens basically with Cameron, who is Allison's ex-boyfriend, because you know he kissed another girl at the party in Halloween 2018. So it's still the same night. Second moment is right after what happened. You know, Michael is trapped inside the house still. So you got Cameron walking down the street. He's on the phone, calling his friend Oscar, trying to see what happened with you know, Allison, not knowing that his best friend has been murdered by Michael Myers. So he's walking down the street. He sees Sheriff Hawkins on the floor. I mean, not on the floor, on the ground. And then he goes over to help him. And then Sheriff Hawkins comes to. Thank God he's not dead, because I was like so mad when Sartain stabbed him in the throat, well, in the neck, and then they ran him over. But apparently he seemed fine because he was breathing and all the good stuff. So maybe they retconned the whole what happened in the last movie. Who knows? But he was breathing, he was fine, all this stuff. He was, you know, gasping for air, saying that we got to kill him, to my Michael, which flashes back to 78, where he's actually there the night chasing after him, along with Dr. Loomis and a bunch of other cops within Haddonfield. And I have to say, the sequence where they did the 78 flashback, the attention to detail, absolutely love this scene. You know, as a hardcore fan of the original Halloween, that is like one of my all-time favorite horror films. Um, it's a slasher classic. One of my favorite films. Just seeing that scene, and and then you see Michael in the original mask, just the overall palette, the color palettes, and the sheen, and making it look very retro from the way they used, like they shot it. They literally looked like we were transported back to the 70s, and I love seeing that attention to detail in this film. And then we get to see a young Lonnie who, we remember used to bully Tommy as a kid, if you remember from the original film. So there's these ugly group of kids who's picking on him and all this other stuff. And then Lonnie runs home, and then he actually encounters Michael as he trips and falls on the ground. And then he's thinking Michael's going to kill him. But apparently, what happened was he lived right across the street. So the Myers house was across the street. That's where Michael went, which prompts Hawkins and Pete to go into Michael's house and see if he is actually inside. And I actually loved the scene when they go in there, and it's basically Pete goes to the window because he sees like a dead dog on the floor. So that's basically what Michael's been doing. He's been dieted on eating animals. So then he goes basically to the window, he looks out, and there's this thing that alludes to in the film where, when you look out the window, he wasn't necessarily looking out at Haddonfield. He saw a reflection of himself as a child. And that plays into a scene later on when you see that Karen is looking out at her reflection in the hospital. And then there's another shot of her where she's looking up at the house later on in the film, but we ain't gonna jump the gun just yet. We'll get to that part down, later on down the road. So I noticed all that plays into it. So that's saying that basically Michael saw, that was just evil, and he just saw inside of his soul. He was just like, I'm a lost cause. I am who I am, and it is what it is. And he recognized it, he accepted it at 6 years old, the moment he killed his sister, and staring out into the world, and that was that. So then, of course, I love the fact that, when Michael attacks Pete, that he gets a couple of licks in before, he gets strangled with a piece of rope, and then he's living with that guilt. So there's a lot of that plays into this movie where you get the guilt, the trauma, things that, and then another cop helps cover that situation up, saying that, we might as well just lie about it, because if they found out about the truth, then, let it be that Michael did this, so that way they can have that as the motivator for people to be angry. So of course, like after that, after he, kills Pete by accident, and then he goes and tries to chase after Michael, the great thing was the house is surrounded, and we got to literally see Dr. Loomis. It was not Donald Pleasence, because Donald Pleasence is not alive. The man died shortly after filming Halloween 6, which was not a good movie, but it was great to see that Paul Rudd, that was like one of his first films, he played a young Tommy Doyle, and, he probably would have been too damn expensive to get him in here, which is probably why they got Anthony Michael Hall. Seeing him in this film, they did a phenomenal job. I thought they did CGI. You know how they did in CGI where they make them look younger, or they put the dots and stuff on people's face to have them do the standing. But come to find out, what I read, did a little more research. They said it was, they found an actor who had the shape of Donald Pleasence back then, and they basically put prosthetics on this actor to make him literally look like Donald Pleasence. That's a phenomenal job that they did. So whoever did the makeup on this, I forgot who did the makeup. I'll probably do research on that later on and find out who did the makeup. But I have to say, the person who did the makeup on this film, you deserve an Oscar, you deserve a raise, you deserve a whole lot, because you did a phenomenal job, not only on making the actor look like Dr. Loomis, but those kills in this film. And I have to say that when Michael emerges from that house, once, you see in the trailer, they're on the way to taking Laura in the hospital, she's in the back of the truck, and the fire department is heading to her house to put out the fire, because that's what firefighters do. There's a fire, you got to put it out. They're just doing their job. And then, of course, Michael emerges from the gun cabinet. That's where he's been hiding. And then he goes on this brutal bloodbath. But my favorite shot of this film is because they did a phenomenal job of lighting this mask. That's what I was just predominantly really excited about. And then when he emerges from the house with the Gallivan tool, Halligan tool. I said about Gallivan. When he emerges from the house with the Halligan tool and he switches hands with it, he's like, yeah, I'm ready to fuck y'all up. Like, he's pissed. And I just love seeing that. Just He don't speak, but the body language just speaks volumes. And just being like, you know what, I'm about to kill every last one of you motherfuckers. And just seeing him take people out with the Halligan tool, and then taking the guy and then taking the chainsaw and basically just taking it to the face. And then what I also loved was the extra things where they were adding, where we're seeing a lot of POV shots of other people who are dying, seeing it through their eyes, other people dying. And that plays out a lot in this film, which I absolutely love. Getting to Laurie's neighbors, the interracial couple, where you had Sandra and Phil. That scene, I was, even though there was a brief scene and we see them in the commercial where the black lady and the white guy, well, I said Sandra and Phil, they get murdered because Michael goes in the house. And what I loved about, there's a shot before he turns the light on, you literally see Michael's silhouette in the mirror. So I was like, just those attention, we ain't gonna go and see it in no damn IMAX Dolby or on a big screen TV. I saw it in 4K in my own house on 72-inch television. So seeing that attention to detail, absolutely, I said, oh my God, you can see him. So just, I had my Jada Pinkett and Scream 2 moments. A lot of time, don't do it. Don't go in there. Like, a lot of people were making a lot of dumb decisions. We're going to get to talking about that. There was a lot of people who made a lot of stupid decisions in this movie, which turned out to be, okay, come on now. And then there were points where it's just so ridiculous, we have to laugh. And I'll get to the specific scene and what I'm talking about in a moment. But I actually felt for when Sandra and Phil were killed, because he literally is like, oh my God, call the cops. There's a big guy inside, the bathroom or something. And the funny thing is that I had no idea James Drew Courtney is 6'3" in real life. But yes, James Drew Courtney, I have to say, did a phenomenal job playing Michael. He is, like, in my opinion, since the original, one of my favorite Michaels to be on this film. It's kind of like Kane Hodder in Friday the 13th. Kane Hodder is like one of my all-time favorite Jasons in the Halloween franchise. Just the way he just took the elements of Jason and made it his own. I just love how James Jude Courtney has taken how the tilt of his head, and there were moments where people would attack him and he's looking at them like, really, motherfucker? Like, are you really think that's going to affect me? And then the way he would react. There's a scene where when he's fighting Allison in the house and she tries to shoot him and miss. Here's another thing we need to talk about. The people of Haddonfield, y'all are the worst shooters in the history. Everybody shoots this motherfucker and misses. Like, nobody knows how to shoot a gun. In old Haddonfield, a lot of y'all got guns but don't know how to shoot it. So that was another thing that was bothering me too. There's a scene where with Allison, when she goes and they're in the Myers house and they shoot at Michael, and then of course she misses. He takes the thing out, and then she takes the knife that was from before in the first film with her mother and grandmother, and she stabs him repeatedly with it, and he grabs her by the head and holds it to his face and kind of gives her this look like, I'm gonna fuck you up, and then bashes her head into the banister. Just those little moments I actually love, because it's sort of like it's not saying things, but it's just saying things without saying it. And to me, body language, looks, just the tiniest of details, those things get me excited more so than just, okay, clunky one-liners. Evil dies tonight. I got tired of hearing that shit after the 5th time. Everybody in this movie was saying it, and it just didn't fit in a lot of those sequences. But yeah, Sandra and Phil, when that scene happened and Phil got pulled through the glass and it went through his neck, and then Sandra was trying to leave the house, but she had all them damn locks on the door. I'm like, girl, you ain't getting out that house. That's the worst part. Is like when you're trying to keep the boogeyman out, but then you trapped and you got all them locks on your door and you're trying to unlock every damn thing and you're trying to get out and you can't because you're panicking. So I can understand in her situation, he goes and breaks off the long, the light, and then puts it through her neck, and literally the scene that got me is like when I was talking about that POV shot of her literally watching the love of her life being murdered, and she can't do anything. She's literally stuck there bleeding out, and there's a scene of Michael literally just taking every knife in that kitchen. He puts Phil on top of the damn island and just like, I'm gonna stab you. I'm gonna take a look. Let me get another knife and stab you again with a new knife. Oh, I ain't done with your ass yet. Let me grab another knife and stab you with another one because I'm getting into I'm playing with you now. Like, so I just loved how Michael toyed with his victims. He was badass in this movie. And this is like the Michael Myers I've always wanted. Like, he just didn't give no fucks. This was clearly a bloodbath. There was no plot to this movie. It was thinner than Donald Trump's hairline. So um, basically, it was just Michael's whole goal was he escapes the hospital because of Sartain and all the crap. I hated Sartain, by the way. Glad he's dead. Um, and he was just his main goal was to get back home. He wanted to get to the Myers house, which we come to find out is being owned by a gay couple, Big John and Little John. We're gonna talk about them in a second. Played one of them played by Stewart from Mad TV. So I definitely love the idea of seeing the nostalgia, the attention to detail of the old Myers house when it was abandoned in '78, and then to see how they fixed it up and that whole sequence. So we'll get to that in a moment. So yeah, so we talk about all that, and then of course let's go to Mick's bar where we actually come across some of the nostalgic. We get a little nostalgia because we see some of our favorite characters from the original film. So we saw Tommy Doyle, played by Anthony Michael Hall. He wasn't in the original. He's taking over the role. He wasn't the original Tommy, but it was great to see Marion Chambers. It was great to see Kyle Richards on screen again as Lindsay because she's pretty much been making her money on the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills being a reality star. So maybe this will open up a door for her to get back into acting, which she says is her first love. It was great to see Kyle Richards playing a different type of character. She had a nose ring. She's wearing Doc Marten boots. Like she's got a little edge to her. I mean, it would have been nice to kind of get more into these characters and feel like, oh yeah, it was great to see them, but I don't feel like the movie fixates on them long enough for us to even care about these characters because a lot of them got killed off relatively quickly. Like Marion Chambers, this is the second time they killed her off in the damn Halloween franchise. But I liked her death more in H2O than I did in this film. And we'll get to her death in a moment. But it was just great to see Lonnie, Marion, Tommy, Lindsay, all of them hanging out at the bar. And then they go on TV and then they hear, they get the alert on their phones and then they see on TV that, the mental patients escaped the hospital except 2 were unaccounted for. And I was like, so nobody knows what Michael Myers looked like? Like, y'all heard the history of Michael Myers being in the hospital. The whole town knows about it. Like, this man has haunted Haddonfield. Like he is the thorn in Haddonfield's ass. So nobody knows what this man looked like, which is why I hated the scene of the hospital where they have the whole mob mentality. And I get the whole mob mentality concept because I actually think it was a great concept to tackle in this film. I don't mind social commentary in horror films. We've seen a lot of that in a lot of movies for the past, decade or two. But I just felt like it was a great start. It was a great idea. The execution just didn't land for me, particularly the scene where they all go to the hospital and they're always saying like Michael's going to come to the hospital. Michael ain't thinking about Lori, and come to find out she comes to find that out later on in the film. Michael was not her motivator. He doesn't care. He just there was just something that happened 40 years ago that he saw, and he just went after them. There was a particular reason for it. Maybe it reminded him. Maybe Lori and those girls reminded him of Judith. So maybe that's what that was. And that's why he went after those women. They reminded him of his sister. But then, of course, in the second one, they decided, let's make Lori Michael Myers' sister. I'm glad they retconned all that. So, I just like the idea of, there's no real motivation. It's just whatever childhood situation that he's going through and they just played into that. So, one of my favorite sequences happened to be when Lonnie gets the phone call and goes, from his son saying that, he's with, Hawkins and he's, something bad has happened, which gets everybody riled up and the whole mob mentality and Tommy Doyle pretty much having his Morpheus in the Matrix Reloaded sequence every 5 minutes. Evil does it. I was waiting for him to say, Zion, hear me. I come to you. I was waiting for that Shakespeare, but everybody was trying to do the whole Shakespearean moment and it wasn't landing for me script-wise. The one who was able to pull that off back then, it was Donald Pleasence. Donald Pleasence really was just able to take that dialogue, chew up the scenery, and made it so believable in the original film. And I felt like they were trying to have those moments with a lot of these characters, and they just weren't landing. I had a love-hate relationship with Anthony Michael Hall's portrayal of Tommy Doyle. I didn't particularly... A lot of the stuff in there just didn't land for me with that. And I really wish they would have done, like I said, done a lot more. So I like the scene where they go to Haddonfield Park, and you've got... Well, it was what was it? Because I had to write everybody's names down so I forget. So I'm gonna glance at my notes. Give me a second. So basically, it was Marcus, Vanessa, Marion, and Lindsay. They were all in the car, and I like the fact that Lindsay got out. She saw those kids who, prior to, had went to the Myers house where the gay couple lives, Big John and Little John, and they went in and they pulled this stuff and said, "Oh, my friend ate a piece of candy and got a razor blade and all that other stuff." But another kid went inside, who we found out Michael winds up killing later. We just see at the Haddonfield part when he holds the skull mask, which pays homage to Halloween 3 Season of the Witch, which has a soft spot in my heart, by the way. I love Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. I know a lot of people had problems with it when it first came out ages ago, but it's one of my favorite near and dear parts of the franchise because it's a different. And I really hope that they explore that whole anthology Halloween thing where every Halloween you could just do like an anthology. Can we get something other than American Horror Story? American Horror Story has not been doing it for me in regards of like the scares and horror. Like it starts out great and then it gets stupid. So I would really hope that they would do something similar with Halloween. Just call it Halloween, do an anthology series, make a little series with scary. It doesn't have to be about Michael Myers. You could do a whole story where you have different stories, but it takes place on Halloween or whatever. I would love to see them still take that on, maybe on a streaming service or something. But back to Halloween Kills, because I love Halloween 3, by the way. That's why I just wanted to say. So what had happened was Lindsay gets out of the car and she sees these kids because the kids, basically it was a scam. So while they were distracting, while the girl was distracting the couple, the boy in the skull mask went in the house and stole their damn candy. And that's when they go and they tell the little story about, do you know whose house this is? This is, Michael Myers' house, and scares the kids, those other stuff. Then two of the kids, and because they said they were waiting for their friend, and when Lindsay's like, what are you doing out here? You see it in the trailer, and they're like, well, we're waiting for our friend, and they're playing on the swing, and they said this guy is playing hide and seek with them, and then they actually see him. He's by the car that they were in, and while Lindsay's telling the kids to go off, that you got the other three in the car, there was a lot of dumb decisions. This is where it comes in, where it's like the scene was beyond laughable on how all three of them felt they could take Michael on. Marion wasted so many goddamn bullets, shooting everything but the goddamn target. She's shooting every window in the car, which irked me. She ain't had no bullets in the gun either. I think she only shot 4 times, but in one of the guns she have a 6-shooter, so she was shooting, wasted the damn bullets. I may have to watch it again to count the bullets, not the bullets, the shots that went off. But so he's shooting, and I loved the fan service of how the hand on the window, which pays homage to the first encounter she had with him in the original Halloween, when she was in the nurse's outfit and he steals the car and drives off. So I loved that part, and then see how Vanessa goes and runs away. That seemed to make no sense to me. So you got Marcus in the back seat, and she goes, "This is for Dr. Loomis," and goes to shoot Michael. No bullets. She's out of bullets, and he's like, "What's for Dr. Loomis? Okay, what are you going to do? Beat me with the butt of the gun?" Goes in and stabs her to death. And then I found out later that Marcus thought, let me wrap the stethoscope around Michael's neck like it's really going to do something. And he just turns his whole head as his, the back of as his being strangled against the chair of the front seat of the car, turns his head and throws the knife right in his eye. Which, just watching how these people react to how they die was just hilarious. And then it's like, where the fuck did Vanessa go? So the bitch runs away, but then you come back, and then you got this gun. You're shooting another one shooting everything but the damn target. The funny part was where the comedy fits into a Halloween movie instead of you trying to crack jokes about, cutting your crusty ass toenails. Those jokes don't land for me. But Michael kicking the door as she's shooting at him, and then she gets close enough where he kicks the door of the car. It hits her hand. The gun, goes back, and she shoots herself in the face. That is shit that I find funny. When you can put a little comedy in people doing stupid shit happens to you. Where you think you're going to take on this menacing person. And that's kind of what I loved about the social comedy, is like when mob mentality, cancel culture, people jump into all this sort of thing. It what will happen to you when you think that you take the law into your own hands instead of letting the law, which a lot of times fails the people, and that plays into the movie as well, doesn't do their job. So then the people want to take on the madman, and then what happens? A lot of people get killed. There's a lot of carnage. Definitely, if you're a slasher movie fan, if you like horror and all this stuff, you want to see blood and gore and stuff, you're gonna love this movie. And I did love those parts of the movie. I just wish that even if the plot is gonna be thin, I just wish the writing, as far as the dialogue, was a little stronger. The scene where you had the guy in the hospital where they thought the mental patient was Michael, it's like, come on, y'all know damn well Michael is not no short and stout looking person. He literally looked like Danny DeVito as the Penguin in Batman Returns. Y'all really thought that was Michael? It's like, come on. And so but it went to show that, when one person says something and fear gets a hold of you, people don't want to listen to logic and reason. People just react crazy and people get hurt. And at the point, I did like when Karen tried to help him and keep the mob out, and he got so scared he literally just kills himself. He jumps out of the window, and that's what I was like, I know the scene that this is about to happen. He's about to jump out the window, and that's that POV shot that we got in the trailer. And just seeing the leg bent back and the guts splattered all, the head, brains and everything splattered over the street. I was like, okay, this is gross. But I was enjoying it because seeing all that, that gore, it's just certain things we like about a movie. And it was pretty gory for a Halloween film. Like, that's not something we have before. And I get it. You can't do like the mystery of blood and gore and guts and this, that, and the third. You have to kind of modernize it for a new audience. But I felt like there were certain things that maybe would hurt the Halloween film. They were so busy trying to cater to the newer generation instead of focusing on the Halloween purists and the Halloween fans, the people who love the Halloween franchise. You could have catered to them and given them what they wanted, but then also don't speak. Be right back. I ain't finished. But you should focus on just telling a good story. And then, people will jump in if they can. If they don't, then maybe the smart thing would do is see the 2018 one and the original to see if they all connect. I did like the scene between Laurie and Frank because we found out that Hawkins had a thing for Laurie, and just seeing that moment between these two. But she had a thing, she had eyes for Ben Tramer, and I love that there's still love for Ben Tramer in this franchise. But then also it's like, we get I did love the scene, the fight. I also forgot to mention, I know a lot of people weren't bringing it up, maybe they were, but for me, I love the fight scene. It felt a little anticlimactic, but I did like seeing Kyle Richards have a fight scene with Michael Myers and get down in the dirt, where she basically beat him with bricks in a pillowcase. And then he goes and strangles her, and at one point she gets the mask on and she got to see his face. So numerous people in this movie got to see Michael in, his true face. So Laurie got to see the face of the original movie. Karen gets to see his face at the, towards the third act of the film. When she goes to rescue her daughter from the Myers house, because Lonnie and Cameron and Karen, Karen's daughter, Allison, they all go to the Myers house because they're looking at the map and it's like that's the goal of where he's trying to get to. He's trying to go home. So them going to investigate, and that's crazy how this girl thought, oh, I'm gonna just take him on, and then just seeing people put in different situations. Another thing I want to talk about, Big John, Little John. I did like them in this film. I did like, when David Gordon Green does take moments to really fixate on certain characters because you feel for them. And I did like Big John and Little John. I said, well, damn, Michael killing the gays, he killing kids, he killing everybody. He's ruthless. He don't give a damn. And the rule is you're not supposed to kill kids and shit. But everybody is fair game, I guess, when it comes to harm. Rules are meant to be broken. But just seeing Big John, Little John, and just going up in the house, and then I'm like, look, anybody is in my house, a burglar, killer, whatever, I'm leaving. I'm not staying up in here to investigate. There's too much of that going on. Too many people investigating people in their house. Who's there? Let me go look. Are you dumb? Like, I'm leaving. So them going up in there and seeing that, and I did love that scene. I thought it was, Michael being Michael, but I love that precious moment of when Lonnie, dumbass, goes up in the house, you hear gunshots. So then Cameron and Allison go up in the house, and they go to see what happened to Lonnie. Of course, Lonnie that got himself killed, because anybody who thinks they go up against Michael, you're a fool. You're not going to make it out alive for the most part. Um, them going in the house and just seeing how there's a photo, and then Michael puts the music on, and then there's a photo of Big John and Little John, the way they're placed, like in a loving moment where he's laying on John's leg. John's laying on John's leg. And they're like looking like that loving couple. And literally he placed their dead bodies the same way. So kind of seeing that, I did like that idea of, oh, Michael's got a heart in a way, but he's sadistic and he's a little cuckoo. And, you know, he likes toying with people. So seeing those moments, it's an oh moment, but then it's like a, you have a lost your damn mind moment. Like just seeing those attentions, the detail, I absolutely love. And like I said, the big showdown, like Cameron got fucked up by Michael's arm and then basically just put his head through the banister and was bashing him up and down and this and the other. And then Allison's like, leave him alone. And it's like, he knows because he remembers what Allison from the house and then stabbed him in the whole booby trap, and she tried to shit there with him. So he's like, oh, this is somebody you genuinely love and care about? I'm going to really dig in. So just seeing those moments and seeing like those emotional beats and stuff, there were a few emotional beats I felt in the film that I absolutely loved, where you took the moment to breathe, especially during the scene when Allison is rescued by Mother because like Michael's about to kill her, and then she goes, and I was like, please, somebody use this pitchfork in this damn movie. And finally, because I thought there was a scene when I forget which John it was. I think it was Big John. No, it was Little John. Little John, because Little John is taller, Big John is shorter. That was the big joke. So Big John, Little John goes to the door, and then they have the thing with the pitchfork. I literally thought that was Michael there with another mask on, holding the pitchfork. Like I thought that. I said, oh, he about to kill him with the damn pitchfork. But I'm glad the pitchfork did take play in the film later on, which is when Allison's about to meet her maker. She's like, do it, go ahead and kill me. I'm not scared of you. Karen goes and stabs him in the back and then takes the mask off and basically is trying to lure him away from the house and save her daughter, which of course, yet another trap where the whole mob comes and attacks Michael and then try to take him out. They beat him up, they stab him, they do all these things. He's left for dead. But then you hear this voiceover of Laurie talking to Hawkins, where she basically says that every time he kills, he starts to manifest into this thing beyond anything we've ever seen. So they play into that whole supernatural element of the franchise, which they've been toying with, was how this man continues to kill, and they stab him, they shoot him, they do all these things, but he still keeps coming back. So they played into the whole supernatural thing and played in, and I actually thought that was cool. But look, it's a damn movie. Like, just suspend your disbelief. You can only suspend it but so much, but I did like that element of that they kept that there. And so then Allison, there's that moment with Karen where it's like, do I cross that line? Because I've been the good girl from the beginning. I didn't want to go to that place that my mother already crossed over 40 years ago, where she was traumatized and took on Michael and that sort of thing. And do I cross that line? And she picks up the knife that he's been killing everybody with throughout this damn movie and stabs him in the back and then walks away. But instead of leaving, she goes back to the Myers house and they're sitting on the stairs. I'm like, why are y'all there? Leave, go away. And then, of course, at that moment, we had Tommy and his evil does tonight. I'm going to take you out, which irked the fuck out of me, as I stated earlier. There's something happens and Michael gets up and literally kills the entire mob, including Tommy. So Tommy gets killed off. But I did love it took the bat and was like, he basically beat that bitch with a bat. I don't know, I just felt like saying it. But anyway, so then there's this scene, like going towards the end, where she goes up the stairs because she looks up and she sees a young Michael, 6-year-old Michael, his reflection in the mirror. And I think that was the point where, like, similar to what we said earlier, when we saw that the sheriff goes, or the deputy goes up to the Michael's sister's room and looks out at the window and sees, I don't know, he saw something. And then basically what Michael saw, maybe saw within his spirit or saw within his soul, and then Michael attacks him and kills him, whatever. And so Karen goes up to the room and looking out, and I guess she saw literally the same thing. Maybe that Michael's sister, she transcends and goes into that place. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Michael appears behind her and stabs her to death. So we're at this point of the cliffhanger, which I know is going to shock and surprise a lot of people. Is Karen dead? And I think she is dead because if we're going into Halloween Ends, which we know is coming, is going to be shooting in January, there needs to be an emotional beat for and a motivation for Laurie and for Allison to want to take out Michael once and for all. And I do believe that Allison is going to become the final girl. They may kill Laurie off in the final one, and then Allison becomes the final girl and takes him out because, look, killed a father in Halloween 2018. You left a mother for dead, or killed her mother in oh wait, and I forgot to mention freaking Brackett. Sheriff Brackett, who's now a security guard at the hospital. He was in the movie, and he got to say his Everybody's Entitled. Wilkins said it was Annie's father, so it was great to see him as well. But then he gets killed because he was part of the mob. You see, he got his throat slit, and then so he ends up dead. So they killed off. They had a lot of the fans that they brought back, but then you killed off majority of them. The good thing is, you know what? My girl, Kyle Richards is still alive. So we got Lindsay. Lindsay's in the hospital. So that was the great thing that she survived, and we'll see if she does show up in Halloween Ends. Does she take on Michael? But they're saying that that in the next one there's going to be the pandemic is going to be an influence. I don't think necessarily people are going to be wearing masks until my coronavirus and all this shit. I think what they're getting at is that Michael has become this plague on Haddonfield, and we need to kill the virus once and all. So I'm thinking that's probably the concept they're going to take. Also, Laurie, feel like the film did suffer a bit because Jamie Lee Curtis got sidelined. I get it because they wanted to bring all these other characters, but I don't feel like they have the gravitas and the ability to carry this film. So with the thin plot, I felt like the kills made up for everything. The gore, all this stuff, basically made up for a weak film. It is enjoyable. It's a film you're going to like if you're a horror movie purist. Before a Halloween film, I just thought it was okay. Maybe I'll just see like where they go with Halloween Ends, and I'll just watch all three of them together collectively to give my overall, like, is it a worthy trilogy of the franchise, or did David Gordon Green just pretty much bullshit us throughout these entire franchise? So what, I'll leave it open for interpretation on that note. Like I said, I watched it twice. I enjoyed certain parts of what it was. I had issues with the script and everything, but overall, it's a solid film. I would definitely give it a recommend. Definitely check it out. Definitely go into a theater. If you don't have Peacock, go definitely check it out and support it, and go see this film. And you know what? It made $4.9 million on Thursday, so we'll see how well it does this weekend. Hopefully it does really well. I do love this franchise. I do think it's a franchise people should continue to invest in, and I'm definitely looking forward to seeing how they wrap this whole franchise up. So once again, I just want to say thank you all for watching this. Definitely leave your opinion on this film down below. I definitely want to hear what a lot of you Halloween fans, Halloween purists, horror movie purists have to say about Halloween Kills. Did you like it? What did you like about it? What you didn't like? What did you want to see the script go? Were you satisfied with a lot of the stuff? Were you satisfied with the kills? Definitely let me know. I'm curious about your opinions. But on that note, for those of you who stuck through all the way to the end, thank you all for your support. Continuing to support. Please click like, subscribe, leave your comments, all that good stuff. Once again, love you all for watching. Until next time, ciao, darlings.